Hi guys, my name's Johnny Bannister, pole position tackle, and today we're going to take a look at the history of the shot on the hook, all the way back in time in history to Frank Warwick and John Jones, up to our latest offering, the tungsten hook shot. So the history of the shot on the hook undoubtedly was invented by Frank Warwick and John Jones. I mean, look, I'm not going to say for 1 minute. I mean, we've had people saying, well, we was doing stuff similar to that, pre-2000 when Frank and John came up with the idea. And I'm sure there is, because this type of thing always happens. But, the inception as we know it and the actual invention definitely came from Frank and it came from John Jones. In fact, they were fishing the Winter Syndicate on Birch Grove, and it was one evening and they was eating fish and chips. And you know what it's like as anglers. They were coming up with great ideas together. And they was looking for a way to make the hook drop quicker into the bottom of a fish's mouth. And they came up with a shot in the hook. So, definitely it was them guys. And, obviously it's been brought to the fore just lately because there's a lot of people talking about it, and Corder's brought this new underwater film. In fact, it was Danny that showed me around circa 2000, same time as the Dynamite Stick Mix came out. There's lots of really good little tricks and edges that year. But Danny said to me, JB, have a look at this, this little shot on the hook. He said, Frank and John have come up with this. And ironically, I went to Corder with the idea for the underwater film. So I was very involved with it all at the time, and it's quite ironic now that Corder had brought the underwater film out, but not any point did Danny ever say that he claimed that idea for Corder or any of his lads. He always gave credit, like we've always done, to Frank Warwick and of course John Jones. Over the years, there's been lots of kind of variations, and I like to try and say it's like a silent collaboration. I mean, in fishing, you've got some great minds. I mean, we've got Coon Coops. I mean, he's at the very top level. We've got John O'Driscoll, one of our guys. And, other companies, they have really, really clever lads. And why I call it a silent collaboration? Because these guys don't even know, but they're pushing things on themselves. And, they're saying, that works well, this works well. And I think, as I said, as long as, credit goes to the person that invented it, I think that's absolutely fine with me. But over the years, there have been many variants. And I think what's important as well, where pole position is concerned, we take a lot of flack where people say, it's a direct copy from PB. But if people knew, I mean, to give you an idea, I was working for PB Products in 2011, 12. Coon Coops, he was at PB. John was at PB. So sometimes what you find is some of the expertise and the developments, they kind of, they transcend different companies, and we take ideas with us only to make them better. I mean, that's what I will say. You don't take an idea from somewhere else not to forward that idea, So we were very much involved in that company at the start. We moved over to pole position, and I think now we've got the best shot on the hook on the market. Something I wanted to mention today. A lot of people are saying, it's, the Jacobs coat, you're all jumping on the bandwagon because Corder's done. Let me tell you something now. Commercially, if we wanted to really push a product and spend a lot of time, it's a very low-value product. The reason we're doing it, because it really does work. And I'm telling you now, right, there's guys all over the country thinking, oh, God, they've mentioned the shot on the hook, it's gone silent for years, nobody's mentioned it, and they've caught a lot of fish on it. So sometimes, you just have to be a little bit open-minded, But I mean, myself, I've never stopped using the shot on the hook. And all of a sudden, it's like, using the shot on the hook. It's not like that, Lots of people have been using it. But as we said, the underwater films have brought it to the fore again. And that's why it's, again, in the public eye. So why does the shot on the hook work so well? Very simple, really. If you look at it, right, and I always say this, hooks are very, very, by their nature, they're very, very light. And something we've done over the years, I think we've created our own problem, because most of us are using boilies, right? So if you think a fish has got a very round mouth, and inside that round mouth, you're putting a round ball. So the fish has it's very, very easy for that fish to eject that boilie. And if you think about it as well, you look at the way that comes out. People always have this thing, and I will say this, I always have to say this, Any other sport or hobby in the world, you can watch it, We could be watching cricket now, we could be watching football. Fishing exists in your mind's eye. So everything you think about, I'm sat on the bank now, I'm looking in the water and I'm watching my rig underwater, but I can't even see it. So really, that's what I'm saying. It's very important to know the physics and the mechanics of what your rig is doing. And I'm going to say this as well, all the underwater films that I've been involved with and every one that have been done, they're always done in relatively shallow water. So if you think now, I'm sat here now, I'm in 1 bar of pressure, sat here very happily, just about to have a cup of tea, yeah? Hopefully in a minute, yeah? If you put your hand in the water, it goes at 2 bar of pressure, yeah? You go down 14, 15 feet, you're at 3 bar of pressure. Now all of a sudden, that's 15, yeah? 15 foot down, 3 bar of pressure. Things are starting to happen there, and I'm telling you now, when you're fishing some of these deep pits, which we've never seen on the underwater films before, yeah? Things do not behave the way that they do in shallower water. And to give you an idea, a friend of mine's an angler, and he is a diver. And he said, if you, even in a, 50, 60 foot, if you drop something, a spanner, if he's working on a boat, things are very difficult to pick up, or they might feel heavier. So, this is why it's very important, to give yourself a great opportunity with the physics. So the shot on the hook, yeah, what you're doing, you're placing that weight, yeah, just behind the barb. It's got to be just behind the barb for it to work really efficiently. And when it's just behind the barb, what happens when it pierces the flesh and goes into the fish's mouth, the actual shot on the hook, yeah, it actually comes back down the shank. So it's out of the way, it's out of harm's way. So it's not going to impede you getting a bite like some people think it is. If you look at the physics and the mechanics behind the shot on the hook, really it's quite simple. If you look at a standard hook, you've got most of the weight running around the back of the shank towards the eye, and it's very, very light towards the point. So by adding that extra weight towards the point, just under the barb when you slide it on, what you're doing, you're making the hook drop very, very quick and very aggressive. So when the fish blows out that bait, all of a sudden, rather than it shooting straight out of a fish's mouth, it's dropping and it's trying to catch hold aggressively, yeah, the bottom lip of the fish. And that's why it works. It's that simple. So the original shot on the hook obviously was quite fiddly. It was a piece of braid and like a BB shot. But we wanted to make it easier for the angler. So in 2016, we started our journey, and our first offering to the market was the stick. It was a little bit fiddly, but it was a vast improvement on using braid and shot. So from the stick, we moved on to one of our current products. It's the shot on the hook holder. And this is for anglers that want to fine tune things a little bit more, where you want to use your own weights, and maybe, them little tiny adjustments. But yeah, so I was really happy with that one. But then that led us on to the one we've got at the minute, the tungsten hook shot, which we believe is the most angler-friendly version on the market. Very, very simple. There's a little rubber grommet. You just put the point of the hook, you slide it through, pull it off behind the barb, and it's job done. Obviously, if you're using barbless, you can just set it at the right distance. You get 8 pieces in here. This is a medium, so basically a medium would go from 6 up to 12, etc. And obviously then you get the large, which goes from 2 to 4, and there's an additional size coming out soon. But what I would say to that is obviously you might be using different size baits and mixing and matching. So, obviously you can do your own little bits of research with it. You can just obviously put your bait in the edge and just see how aggressively that turns over your hand in the water. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I'm going to show you how easy this is. In fact, we've got a ready-made rig down here. I'm going to show you now. It takes seconds to transform an ordinary rig into something that is a fish-catching machine. So guys, this is a Tungsten Flex 30 pound on a size 4 strongbow. We do lots of different variations in ready-made rigs. And, sometimes, you might be, running late from work or, busy schedule, or some of the rigs you might not even be fully confident in tying them. So basically, we're trying to make it as easy as we can for anglers, to be fishing in a very efficient and a very safe manner. So I'm going to show you how this works. So there we go. There's the ready-tied rig. As I said, Tungsten Flex. Look at that. Very aggressive-looking, efficient rig. So it's so simple. As I said, there's a little rubber grommet on the front, as you can see. You just put the point of the hook through the little tiny rubber grommet, and that slides through very, very simply. And then what you do, you just pull that off, and then you just slide that round to the back of the barb. That simple. That's how to transform a rig within seconds. So there you go, guys. That's the pole position tungsten hook shot. If you're looking to give yourself a real edge, give it a try.